My name is Ryan Hunt. I'm 24. I live in Berkeley, and I am a bartender, and I go to school at UC Berkeley. When I was like 8, my family and I would always play card games together, and I always loved those. And then my dad taught me how to play chess when I was like 8 or 9, and he would have me play against my two other brothers, and we all had fun learning it. And then as we grew up, my family would always play Monopoly at like holidays and, little fun board games like Pictionary and stuff. It was really fun social interaction. And I always kind of clung on to the competitive aspect of it. I really liked that it was like solving puzzles. It's like these little mysteries that you could kind of, get at, but it involved other people. It wasn't just you, doing a Sudoku. Get to Lily, and then if you take... Let's see, Norman would have to cast the spell. What does Norman use? Norman uses Feed the Mind to improve. That's what it was. Norman uses Feed the Mind. He improves Lily Chen's strength, gets her up to 6. I really like game playing because of strategy and tactics is usually the best way to explain it. Short-term and long-term implications for how you resolve a situation with probability and information and who knows what, and it's a really interesting way to kind of measure skill. And in games, you can do it, pretty quickly over a short period of time. You can play a lot, so it's more fun. And I just think like mental puzzles are super interesting. You can play games with yourself, or you can play games with other people, and it's about kind of figuring out the puzzle. The game I play the most is this game called Magic the Gathering. And it's a competitive card playing game. I also play a lot of like thematic games that are more like group fun. There's this game called Eldritch Horrors, which is like you're solving mysteries in like a Lovecraftian way. There's this game called Blood Rage, which is about Vikings securing their legacy in Valhalla. They're a bunch of really interesting games that have similar mechanics, but they capture different themes, so they become more interesting sometimes in that way.
So what are some of your most valuable cards that you have with you?
Okay, so out of this group, the most valuable one is probably this guy. It's called Snapcaster Mage. Very enticing. In Magic the Gathering, it's important to have low-costing cards, essentially, that cost very little resources, that have cool effects and really potent effects. And this guy essentially gives you the ability to reuse a resource that you already had once used, and it's played a lot in all the formats of Magic. It's probably the most expensive one out of the group. This probably, crazily enough, is worth like $60, and it's a little piece of cardboard. The hardest thing about making a game is where it's not too simple, because then it can be broken too easily. It can just be one and then it's over and it's not interesting. And so it's not too complicated, because if it's too complicated, it becomes like a bookkeeping exercise. It's like you're just looking at rules and you're checking rules and that's it. So the best games are the ones that are the most elegant. And I think that's the right word, because I think things that are elegant show a lot of skill and show a lot of complexity, but there's a smoothness and a streamlined process to it where it's fun. And those are the best games. It might be an occupation I might get into, that or be a corporate lawyer and just make a bunch of money, one of the two. But it's fun. It's kind of like a pipe dream. I like playing them. I want to play like Magic the Gathering. There's another game called Netrunner, that have kind of competitive elements to it that I really like to get into. And then I just like finding groups of people to play with, whether it's friends or new people. I go to a game store where everybody kind of gets in this sweaty little basement, and you all roll dice and play games, and it's like a fun little nerd cave. But it's great. It's awesome. It's really, those places are really safe, because It's almost like going to an intramural league to play soccer or flag football. You're just with a bunch of like-minded people who want to do the same event, and it's really fun. And there's a bunch of enthusiasm. So the way I kind of see myself in the future with games is I definitely am going to play them. I don't think I could ever see myself stopping, even if I'm a parent having kids. I don't want to teach my kids how to play games. And there's a chance that it might become more of a career. Who knows?